Hi guys, it's that time of the week again. You know what it is. I'm Sean Ferrick for Trek Culture, and here are all of the ups and downs for Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 2, Episode 6, The Spy Humongous. Straight into it this week. Number 1, Kzinti. Simple as. You put a Kzinti in front of me, you get an up. As the episode goes on, we have Boimler is having his own little side quest, but it's not at the expense of his friends, although they go through some challenges. However, there's a bit of worry over Boimler because he joins the Red Shirts this week, and because it makes them sound invincible. That's getting an up from me. Red Shirts sounding invincible. Yeah, right, okay. Now, the funny thing is that we get to see finally a character who's been with us this whole time, and get her see her fleshed out, and that is of course Jennifer. She gets about 2 lines of dialogue, but she nails it. But it is nice to see actual dialogue coming out of stupid Jen's face. Lieutenant Casey is the stand-in for just being a bit of a twat this week. He's alright, I guess. No, he's not. But he takes Boimler under his wing to gonna bring him into the captain's program. And Boimler, as we know, wants to go into command, but doesn't really have the kind of skills to do so, but he does have the plucky courage and heart. Heart is something that's thin on the ground with the Red Shirts, unless they're being impaled through one. Excelsior! Up. Now, we are barely a couple of minutes in, and we're already 3 ups in, so what's going on with Tendi, Mariner and Rutherford? They're on clean up the poop duty. And I mean, you can put whatever fancy name you like on it, it's clean up the poop. And it's specifically the poop that comes back from all of these away missions that the senior staff tend to go on. It's a really good expression. Where does this stuff go? What do we do with it? We send the lower decks in to clean it all up. It's quite funny. Of course, they go into Ransom's quarters, which in itself is a challenge at any point. I mean, you don't know what's on those weights. They find some interesting stuff like crystal and gas that makes Rutherford expand to the size of Aunt Marge in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. And all through this whole thing, Tendi is keeping that stiff upper lip going because this is her first time ever on this kind of cleanup duty, and she's trying to find the best of it. Mariner is pretty much Mariner again this week. In fact, kind of spoiler across the way, Mariner is she's the least to do out of everyone this week, which is, in my humble opinion, that's not a bad thing. She has a lot to do the last couple of weeks, so it's nice to kind of center on some of the other folk for a while. Rutherford would probably be just over her, and then Tendi becomes a giant scorpion. It was a strange episode this week. Not a bad one. But as the episode goes on, you have an awful lot of trying to stay upbeat, trying to stay happy. But of course, when they get to Dr. Miglimu's office, really hits the fan. With that hitting the fan, we have the side quest, because it's going to come into it here, of Boimler's ascension from Boimler Boiming to Captain Boimler. So he goes first of all for a uniform fitting with his new friends. Jen is all about, we're going to get a uniform that shapes you a bit nicely. I know how to tell a few lies in some clothes as well, so, I know what that's about. The Kzinti, who remains unnamed, which is very upsetting in my heart, tells him that, instead of this kind of slouching thing that Boimler sometimes does, he needs to stretch, big stretch. And that actually kind of hurt. Then, of course, Lieutenant Casey says, we've got to get you speaking like a captain. We've got to get you, delivering your speeches like that. And then we get an up, not quite for the reason you're thinking, because there might be something in the Easter eggs about that. But Boimler, so here's an up. Boimler kicks into this fantastic rousing speech as he imagines himself on the bridge of the frickin' Enterprise D. He looks the part. He is padded to the 9s, or should I say, he's beat to the gods. And he's got a nice little kind of a streak in his hair. Frankly, looks good on him. Looks like he's grown up a little bit. And it might be costume, but it absolutely suits. So this is the Boimler that encounters the Tendi who's been scorpified. Yes, she has unfortunately merged with this cube that has put up these emotional armor around her, as Rutherford calls it, transforming her into a giant scorpion. Which is, of course, quite a natural and normal thing for me to say. She ends up tearing the mess hall apart. She's I mean, this is happening because she's been so upset because, well, she had to listen to Mariner for a while. We love you, Beckett Mariner. Boimler and the rest of the red shirts arrive to save the day. And what do the red shirts do? They start speechifying. This really reminds me of just that scene from Independence Day where the best movie president ever delivers that amazing speech. You know, we will not go quietly into the night. Now, of course, the thing about speeches is they will give you energy. They don't actually do much. And so Boimler just says, guys, are you actually going to do anything? And this is definitely an up from me as well. Boimler, just in general, this episode, but particularly this as well, just gets a massive up. The way that he manages to get Tendi back to normal is he remembers that by covering himself in food earlier on in the episode, she'd giggled at him. And if he can just get her to giggle again, so he runs up to the replicator, punches in the command, and starts to riff straight away. 10 tiny shrimp, soda, corn, chicken, nugget, crispy chicken, blah, blah, blah. 10 tiny shrimp, soda, corn, chicken, nugget, crispy lemon, rotten candy, chili, brandy, chocolate, sundae, hot. It's the end of the world. This has the exact desired effect. Oh, by the way, I'm taking an up for that. There's an up in there. That's for me. That has the exact desired effect. And as the two of them are lying on their bed of ice cream, the other red shirts are kind of like, oh, this guy made a fool out of himself. Well, he can't be cool like us. And Casey leads them away. This leads to a funny little encounter in the hallway where Boimler bumps into them again and Casey's like, oh, we're too cool for you. Like, you can't possibly join us on the acting captain's duties. Boimler's like, yeah, but I actually got something done. Like, whereas you didn't. Ransom walks out of a hot turbo shaft and he's just, head in the pad, and Casey's standing there going, I nominate myself for acting captain duty and I'm so brilliant. And Ransom's just like, I truly don't care. And turns around and compliments Boimler on his quick thinking and leadership skills. And I like that. Now, I've already upped Boimler so much, so up in general for Boimler this episode. And the other red shirts turn around and say, actually, Casey, you can sod off, and maybe we'll hang out with Boimler, who's actually kind of nice. Is this the beginning of Jen's arc? There's been a whole side plot on the planet which basically didn't have very much to do with the episode. Not downing it at all. It was just pretty thin. We're down on the Pakled planet. Now, there is a couple of very good gags from this. So it seems that seniority on the Pakled planet is led by the size of hat that you wear. So we have the Queen Pakled who has a hat. Then the King Pakled who has a slightly bigger hat. But then there's the Emperor Pakled who has the biggest hat of them all. And as soon as the hat changes heads, that person is then the Emperor. It's quite funny. It's very much what you would expect from Pakled society. Rumdar, who is of course a refugee Pakled who has disappeared up to the Cerritos. The episode's called The Spy Humongous. Yes, he gets a couple of good gags. So basically Ransom and Kayshawn see him straight away for what he is when he's like, I would like to see the engine room. Give me your codes. Kayshawn pulls Ransom aside and says, so, you getting any Basmenti when you pull back the Veils vibe off this guy? That's an up. This is good. This is playing on the Children of Tama kind of stuff. Really, really like this. Rumdar disappears and they are terrified. Oh my god, how did this guy get away from us? Computer confirms Rumdar's not on the ship. Has he found a way to mask himself? No, it turns out Pakleds can survive in space and Rumdar flushed himself out on an airlock. Up. That was an up from me. I was drinking my coffee and snorted it out at that point. He's just hovering by in the background. Even Ta'ana says, holy f***. And I'm with you on that one, Ta'ana. Absolutely with you. The episode was quite light fare and, it was a bit of a breather after last week's, which was quite nice as well. But the best moment of the episode comes in that very last scene, because they have this special stone that lets them transmit their voices across the universe, and Tendi comes up with the perfect idea. What are we gonna do? Prank call Armus? Up. Oh my god, this is so much fun. Armus from Skin of Evil, last time we saw getting bet by Picard after he flung Tashiar across the, certainly not the backlot set. It was so much fun. He says, oh, I'm a Skin of Evil, respect me. And they're like, oh, Armus, we're touching your stuff. And he falls over and becomes an oil slick on the ground. Hilarious way to end the episode. Hilarious way. Now, guys, let us have an old swim and a flip over to Cetacean Observations. A personal thank you from me to Mike McMahon. Last week we were pushing 100 Easter eggs. This week, considerably fewer, and I thank you. We have The Pakled ships at the beginning, they are a combination of the Mondor-style freighter, a Romulan warbird, and the Klingon bird of prey guns. Picard in the Enterprise is called out very, very quickly. Freeman is addressed as Janeway for the entire episode. Red shirts. How often did Riker clean his trombone? It was actually pretty distracting. I'm putting a cheeky up in for that there, Chris. These guys are no Tal Shiar. Those light tubes, they turn up everywhere. They will haunt me. I might be buried with a light tube. TNG era dilithium. I like to keep things topical here on Trek Culture, so I like that when the Queen Pakled emerged, she was flanked by 2 Met Gala era Kim Kardashians. And I thought it was well played, Mike McMahon. Well played. We have what looks like a brown Wesley era jumper from TNG Season 1. You wear that, girl. You wear it. Nanites turn up a little bit later on in the episode. The frickin' Enterprise D bridge. Oh, go on. That gets an up as well. Uhura's earpiece is in some of Dr. Miglimu's stuff that he wants to get rid of. And of course, we have the wonderful Armus, who I have already upped. That is everything for this week, guys. Bit lighter than, say, the last couple of episodes, which was a bit of a breath of fresh air. And I'm sure Chris is probably like, oh great, I can sleep tonight, which is lovely. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. And yes, you know what's coming next. Please don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Every time that you do, guys, you are really helping the channel to move forward and to grow. That is why I push this so much, because you are legends that help us to do that. So thank you so much, guys. You can catch us over on Twitter at Trek Culture. You can catch myself, Sean Ferrick, on all of the socials. You look after yourself till I'm talking to you again. You have a lovely weekend, and you live long and prosper. Thanks.